This video is going to take a look at Gemini and the third house archetypes, the challenging psychological aspects of Gemini third house and the positive psychological aspects of Gemini third house. And if you're new, if this is the first video that you're watching in this series, we're taking a look at the 12 archetypes so that later on, when we want to start looking at blending together what a planet in a sign and house means, we have available to us the tools and a good solid understanding of the archetypes so that we can learn how to blend them together. Because in astrology, that's often the most challenging thing to be able to do. So that's what we want to focus on. And yeah, so that's what we're going to take a look at. So starting with Gemini and the challenging aspects. Gemini is all about curiosity. And so curiosity is a great thing and a very important part. And so that's a positive aspect. But at one end of the spectrum, you can be too curious. You can have such a busy mind. You can be constantly gathering data and facts and never doing anything with the information that you're gathering. You can just be an information gatherer, just like in Taurus, you could just be a hoarder of resources and never really using those resources. So you can have this sort of, real monkey mind and a gathering of facts and never assimilating them. When you consider that, then obviously we can think of Gemini in terms of it is the sign of gathering information to understanding our environment intellectually. And problems that can come up with that are problems to do with learning and communication. So that can mean, depending on what particular planets or placements you might have in Gemini or the third house, it can mean actual learning problems. So something that you have been diagnosed with and a difficulty learning in some way. Or it could be that you have a speech problem, a communication problem. So perhaps your speaking is fine, but you just find it difficult to speak up and to talk, to communicate what you want to say. Maybe you're fine at speaking, but you find it difficult to write, or vice versa. So anything around those areas can come up as being challenging aspects. If we look at the other end of curiosity, you might have cut off and dampened your curiosity completely. Perhaps because of something that happened to you, you experienced a particular trauma or situation that in some way showed you that curiosity and learning and gathering information doesn't serve you, and so you don't have any curiosity at all. In fact, intellectually, you become so insular that you think you already know everything that there is to know. There is nothing else to know. There is no wisdom to gather from any other source. And you know what you know. Nobody can add to that. Conversation becomes irrelevant to you. There's nothing to learn. Expressing yourself it's a one-way exchange because you're not involved in the process of communication, because you don't feel like there's anything that you can gather from the outside. So you can be completely lacking in curiosity as well. And that is the sort of other extreme. So you can go both ways, where you're a constant fact gatherer and you feel like you never have enough information to make a decision. And on the other end, you can just lack all curiosity for life and there's nothing else that you really want to learn or know. So both of those are the challenging ends of curiosity. Other things that can come up can be that your thoughts are sort of stuck in the past as well. Like there's no forward movement with your mind and your intellectualism. Or you can be so intellectual in your approach that everything is very mental but not applied. So it's just intellectual for the sake of it. And so you're very focused on the smaller details and the finer facts, but you can't see the woods for the trees. There's that. That's a very Gemini thing, that phrase, and on a challenging aspect. So yeah, with communication, it could be a lot of talking and not listening, and an inability to get in the flow of conversation, of the give and take of it, and are able to sort of base your intellect and ground it with your emotions and feelings. It's sort of, you're very much in the mind, and it doesn't sync with the other parts of your body and the way that you operate with your emotions and your psychology and those sorts of things. I'd say the other challenging aspect is Gemini is also to do with siblings, cousins, community, the people you grow up with, your more immediate peers. And so there can be problems with, you can have actually experienced problems or continue to experience problems with your siblings or people who are like your siblings, whatever siblings might be for you. And also as a child, you might have experienced actual bullying, and the nature of that bullying, whether it was physical or not, could depend on what we're blending the third house or Gemini with, like which other sign or house. But those can be some of the challenging aspects that you experienced as well. If we move to the positive aspects, let's think about curiosity again. Obviously, curiosity in its most healthy state is very inquisitive, clever, witty. Curiosity is very enlivening. It's very attractive. It's very engaging. It allows really strong connections with other people when you have a great curiosity about them and you want to know more and you want to know more about things. It makes life much more exciting, much more interesting. And if you are curious and you enjoy this connection, then your communication is very strong. You're a great thinker, speaker, reflector, listener. You have everything that is, you're really present when someone's talking. You think thoughtfully about what they've said. You ask interesting questions. You make interesting comments. That flow of communication is at its best. And when we think about the gathering of information, you're good at gathering information and you're good at weaving it together. At its strongest, Gemini is really about the power of integration and being able to integrate different elements together to create a new whole as well. So while Aquarius can be very much the inventor, Gemini is the point at which you start to fuse together different things to create a new, unique concept. So, Gemini is where that starts. The air signs is where this all happens, but Gemini is where that starts. You can be very logical. You have a gift of speech, flexible, funny, savvy, full of initiative, very sociable, and a great teacher as well. So these are a lot of the positive aspects that you can think about when thinking about Gemini in the third house. And you can just imagine curiosity at its best, and you can think of people you've met how it feels to be around a genuinely curious person, not like a 2-year-old toddler who asks why, not in that way, but in the way of genuine presence and curiosity about the world and how joyful and interesting a person like that is, and how much that is about really enjoying this 3D experience of living on this planet, and of really engaging with the environment around you, and doing so in a way that is really very entertaining and very joyful. When you think of all those things, then you're really thinking of the positive aspects of Gemini.